welcome back. This is my fourth episode. So if you've um, been here before, welcome back, like I said. And if you're new, then thank you for stopping by um, and hanging out with me for a little bit. So my name is Amanda. Family and friends call me Panda, and I just love pandas. Like, hubby got that for me a couple of years ago. I think when we were dating, actually. So it's been about 9 years since I've had that, 10 years since I've had the blanket. And I have pandas everywhere. I'm not in my original room, so you're not going to see pandas here. Actually, you could see behind me my husband's dartboard. And I'll tell you why um, I'm in this room in a couple of minutes. Where you can find me. You can find me on Ravelry as Panda Loves Yarn. You can also find me on Twitter as Panda Loves Yarn. Another place you can find me if you're interested is Instagram as Brooklyn Girl 43. And I do have a blog, so check that out. It's pandalovesyarn.com. I'm still getting the swing of things, but it's up and running, so bear with me. I'm still trying to figure stuff out in regards to posting and putting up pictures and how I want to kind of like organize that. So today's episode, I am dedicating to I'm dedicating to getting it together. I shouldn't say I'm dedicating. Today's title is getting it together. And why I say that is because in the last episode I talked about how my husband and I are recertifying our home so that we can continue to receive foster children in our care. And so about a week ago, we got a call from the agency, and an infant needed a placement, and so we said yes. So um, this family of two is now a family of three. I don't know how long he's staying, but he's so gorgeous and so cute. I wish I can show you pictures, but unfortunately I can't. He's not mine, and I want to be able to respect his privacy. Um, So I am not going to be showing you pictures, but you're probably going to hear me talk about him so much. He is already grown. We've gotten him, he's a week old, and when we got him, he was about 4 days old. So, he's already growing. I can see the growth. He's, getting the chunky cheeks from eating so much, and from when he came, so I can definitely see the difference. But, so getting it together, I'll tell you why. Because hubby and I have been alone for a year and a half with no kids in the home, we, you know, quickly established a routine that worked for the both of us. So, one of the things about being a foster parent is you never really know when you're going to get that call. And usually, because as a foster parent, you have a right to say no to a placement, but we've not said no to a placement yet. That's just not why we became foster parents. So if a child needs a placement and we're able to accommodate them, then definitely um, they're more than welcome to stay here for whatever length, may it be short term or long term. Um, so because we established a routine between the two of us, when baby came, he shook everything up, as babies usually do. But you know, generally, women are pregnant for 9 months, so they have a little bit of time to get stuff together, put things in order, and have things set for when the baby does, arrive 9 months later. With foster parents, it's like, hey, we got a baby or we got a child who needs a placement and such and such, and so can you help us? Can you take this placement? Once you say yes, that baby is like boom. It could go from anywhere 20 minutes you wait into all day. Okay, so the day that he was coming, we waited for him all day. We got the call early in the morning, about 9 o'clock, and he didn't come until 4. So we had to stay around. We had to stay put. But when he came, we realized that there were some necessities that we didn't have, so we had to do a lot of running around, like diapers and wipes. We had the crib. We have a co-sleeper, which this co-sleeper is a standalone. So you can, you have the option of attaching it to your bed or really having it be on its own. So we put that co-sleeper in the living room, which is where I am, and then we have a swing. Um, so there were things that still needed to be picked up. Some, I needed to get onesies because the last time I had an infant in my house, when it came straight from the hospital, all that baby came with was a car seat. And so I didn't want the same thing to happen. So I ran out and I got onesies, I got receiving blankets, I got diaper cloths, and, pacifiers, bobos, uh, bottles, more bottles, and formula because they already told us what type of formula he was on. And so I know babies eat a lot. So I went out and I bought a lot of formula. So because we have gotten this beautiful gift in our home, it has taken me away from my knitting time. And I, you know what, I gladly put my needles down to spend time with this beautiful baby boy. So I'm getting it together. I'm getting back into the swing of things. Hubby and I are kind of tag teaming here. I take night shifts, and right now he's sleeping. So hopefully he stays sleeping so I can finish my podcast. And hubby takes morning. So what we do is in the morning I work, and so when I come home, I relieve my husband so that he can get some sleep or just relax and calm down. Um, but because I'm working during the day, and I don't bring my knitting with me, only because I have a lot of big projects that I'm doing. I do have a pair of socks, but I have to rip that out to start over because I missed some increases. But I'll show you that. And I've not gotten that far in the sock. But so yeah, so I'm just getting it together. Hubby and I just getting it together, getting a new routine in place, and trying to figure things out. I don't know how long he's gonna stay, so he's probably gonna, our world is gonna be rocked yet again when it is time for him to go back to his family, which is where he needs to be. And we're already starting that process for him to go back to his family. So he may be in a short while, which is fine. Heartbreaking, but fine. Um, because overall he needs to be with his biological family. Okay, so now that I got the non-knitting stuff out of the way, I don't have a lot to show you, but I do have certain things to show you. But before I get into it, I want to give shout outs. I want to shout out Vana85 on Ravelry. She saw my last podcast and instant or private messaged me on Ravelry to say that she had seen it and gave me some suggestions because in the last episode I talked about how I just bought a drop spindle and 4 ounce fiber and trying to figure it out, trying to learn, you know, how to do that. And so she reached out to me and gave me some ideas, suggested a book that I should read, which is Respect the Spindle by Abby Farragut or Farragut. I'm not too sure how you say her last name, but um, from that book, I picked up a lot of information that is not really shared on YouTube videos because the tutorials on how to spin, although it's fairly easy to process, it doesn't really talk to you about working on your consistency, how long it might take. And she's actually in the book, she's very thorough. She talks about physics and how that interacts with the drop spindle, the weight, as you're adding on to the weight. And she really like breaks it down depending on what type of spindle, depending on what type of um, fiber you're going to use. And so I like that. I really like learning like the depth of how long, because in the book she talks about how long drop spinning has been, around in what parts of the world and what was done back in the day. Mass production was done with drop spindles. She compares and contrasts spindles and wheels. I don't have a place for a wheel, and they're too expensive, so I'm gonna stick my butt to spinning and get perfect with spinning because I can't. I can't. I draw the line. Not because I want to, but I have to. My husband will surely hang me by the newly spun yarn if I go out and buy a freaking wheel. So, So I want to give a shout out to Vonna85 for directing me, um, for pushing me along and showing me also that there is a group on Ravelry, a lot of groups actually on Ravelry for spinning. I just know Ravelry for my knitting because that's all I was really into. So when she told me to check out some spinning groups on Ravelry, and I did, and they're a wealth of information like everything else on Ravelry, and so it's very helpful for me. So shout out to you, Vonna85. Thank you so much. Um, Another shout out goes to the artsy knitter. Her name is True, but and she's another podcaster who you guys probably know about, and I wanted to shout her out for a couple of reasons. One of them being that in her last episode, I believe it was episode 9, she shouted me out. So I was all excited. I was telling hubby, I was like, look, she shouted me out. One of the reasons why she shouted me out was because we were trying to do a virtual knitting group, and we finally were able to do it last week. Last week I was on vacation, so we were able to do it during the day. So, thank you, True. I really enjoyed myself. I learned a lot from you. You are a cool person. I hope that we can do it again soon because I'm back at work. I can't do during the day, so we got to figure something out so we can get this going. It was my first time experience doing a virtual knitting, and I enjoyed it. I really liked it. The feedback was a little bit funny, and I guess it was because of the web browser that I was using. So once I switched it up, True suggested that I use Mozilla, and so when I downloaded Mozilla and I went back onto the Google Hangouts, it worked, and we didn't have no issues. So we had a couple of false starts. We would start talking about something, then freeze, and then it dropped, and then I had to go back and log on, and it was, I was pulling my hair out because I'm like, no. But she is awesome, um, and I did learn. Although it was very minimal. Um, Amount of talking in specific areas, I did learn from. Uh, ugh, I'm all over the place. Get it together. um, I did learn a couple of things from her while we were doing the virtual knitting. She may not notice, or she may not have noticed, but I did learn a couple of things from her, and I love that. I love learning, and I was so happy that I was able to connect with her and give me the experience. Have the experience with her, being that she's in Toronto. I believe she's in Toronto, and I am in New York. It was awesome, to just be like, okay, so you know. Uh, what's up, what do you do, how do you like it, and just getting to know each other and getting to know our projects. So shout out to the Artsy Knitter. She is a podcast, so check her out. She's also on Ravelry as the Artsy Knitter. Check her out on Ravelry. She has a really active group there, and she just check her out. You're gonna like her style. She's free, flowing, um, um, very crafty, very, very crafty, and has a lot of information. So definitely, I would say everyone to check her out. Okay, so I'm gonna move from there because I could say check her out 10,000 times. Um, so so that's that. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about my work in progress. And for me, when people tell me what I'm working on, I tell them, and then I say it ain't done yet, because I'm still working on it. But so for me, I just say it ain't done yet. So I'm gonna show you my it ain't done yet. And I don't have that many, like I said, because baby came and I wasn't able to, you know, start and finish and X, Y, and Z. So I'm just gonna show you. I think I have 3 uh, work in progresses. So here's number 1. Excuse me. Get it out. Okay, I'm in the middle of a row, but this will be a corner to corner blanket. Right? So that's the color. This yarn is actually Red Heart, I believe Super Saver. I'm not 100% sure. The way that I came about, the way that I got this yarn actually is that on Facebook in my area we have swappies where people get on and they either sell or give away things that they have no use for, or maybe have no room for, or that they're moving and they need to get rid of stuff, and you know, you get the idea. So I have a confession to make at this point in time before I move forward. Ready? Brace yourself. I am a yarn addict. I just love yarn. And if I can get yarn, I will get yarn. And I don't worry about the consequences. Okay? There. I feel so much better. So, welcome to my yarns. And now I up the game because I started to buy fibers to make my own yarn. It's, you know, something that I'm proud of actually. You know, it's not like being an alcoholic where you're really not proud of it once you're on the road to recovery. I'm actually very proud of being a yarn addict. Okay, I don't need no help. Okay, and anybody tells you different, you let them know. I don't need no help. Anyway, so on Swappies, this lady had 14 um, skeins of this yarn, and she wanted $25 for it. And I know that she brought it in Michael's, so I had went onto Michael's website and I checked how much the 14 skeins of this yarn would be, and it would be around 37 to $40. So for me, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get it, you know. So I did. And initially, what I wanted to do with this yarn is I actually wanted to make the 10 stitch spiral blanket from Frankie. I believe the pattern is free and it's on Ravelry, and it's awesome. But when I started to make the 10 stitch blanket, I didn't like the way that the yarn felt um, with it, because it kind of felt like bulky and rough. So I didn't like it. So I pulled it back, and for me, I thought that I was doing something wrong. And so when I took out, I'm sorry, it's very hot. So you see me touching myself is because I feel like I'm sweating, and I look like I'm sweating, but I just got out the shower. But anyway, um, so I pulled it back, the 10 stitch spiral blanket, and I started it again because I thought that I was doing something wrong. So when I started it again, I just continued on, right? Because I knew that I was following the pattern. There was no drop stitches. I still had the 10 stitches on my needle, you know, so I just didn't like the way that it felt. So what I wound up doing was after I restarted it, I pulled it out again and I went on to Ravelry to figure out what other things I can make with this type of yarn. So I searched by Red Heart yarn, and there were a lot of patterns, and I'm not, you know, the patterns were amazing. I loved them, but that it wasn't something that I would have wanted to do. So I just found the corner to corner blanket, and that's what I call it. I don't know if that's exactly the name of it, but simple, simple corner where you start here and then you expand um, to a square. So that's what I decided to do. And generally, I like to try and do some patterns, either cables or, um, lace, because I like to challenge myself in terms of doing patterns. But I think that this yarn colorway, the way that it flows, I like it. It's simple, but it's a lot. You know what I mean? So sometimes simple is really it's better. So there it is. Um, and so I figured, let me just run with it. This yarn though kind of feels like terry cloth, so I'm hoping that what you call it. I don't know. I don't have any issues with it now, but when I had first started, because it's the first time I knit with this type of yarn, the feeling of this yarn. I've knit with Red Heart before, but this has a different texture, so my fingers are not really used to it. Um, so when I first started, I didn't like the way it kind of felt like scratchy, and I just didn't like the way that it came out with a 10 stitch spiral blanket. Does that ever happen to you guys? Like, what do you do? Is it just the type of yarn that it is? I mean, I know that it's acrylic, but do you ever get that? Do you ever like start a project with a type of yarn and don't like the way that the yarn feels for that specific project? And if so, when you change, was it a matter of changing the pattern, or was it just that the yarn wasn't working for you and you just decided to not, do it, not work with the yarn? Because this is the first time that I've come across not really wanting to work with the yarn, but I pay $25, so I'm working with the yarn. um, and it doesn't feel bad now, but originally, like initially, it just it felt different. It didn't feel like like I'm used to the different textures that I'm used to. It just felt really different, kind of rough. But now that I'm feeling it and I'm touching it while I'm talking to you, um, it doesn't feel bad at all. So, but yeah, so that's that. So I just decided to make this blanket, just to do something with the yarn. Because I was trying to figure out what patterns I want to do with this yarn, and I can't come up with anything. I'm not making socks with this pattern. Maybe I'll make like slipper socks. I'm not 100% sure, because I think that this would be really sweaty, to enclose your feet in. I mean, my feet get sweaty real fast, so the socks won't be for me if I do wind up making slipper socks. Then I was thinking about making like a baby sweater, but um, I really don't know if I would like this texture on a baby sweater or a baby cardigan, because these are cute baby colors, but I don't think that I would like the texture. So if you have any ideas, or even if you have used this yarn before, what did you use it for, right? Because the only thing I can think about is making this like super long for no reason, just to finish the yarns up. But I don't want to do that. I want to make different things. So give me some ideas. I would really love to know, because I'm stumped on this. So that's one. And I will be getting project bags, okay? Right now I'm using these, which come in handy. They're awesome. But, you know, I've been watching all of these, because baby's been here, I've been able to catch up on a lot of my podcasts that I've missed out on. Um, and I've been seeing so much beautiful, beautiful, beautiful project bags. So one of the things that I was thinking about is getting a couple, and then um, doing some things on doing some things with you guys, and then sending it off, for like a contest, or knit alongs or what have you, and then sending them off as prizes. So I'm thinking about that. Um, I've been looking into Etsy shops, figuring out the prices of different types of project bags. And so I'm going to purchase, I already have two in mind that I want to purchase. One is a sock bag, project bag, and then the other one is I believe it's a medium size project bag. And so I'm going to purchase those two, and then decide which one I'm going to, give away. And I'm talking future wise, because I don't have it to show you, but I'm going to order it in the next episode. I will hopefully, if the mailman comes, and delivers, I will have it so I can show you what I'm going to be, and then tell you, what to do in order to be um, chosen to receive the project back. But for right now, this will do, and this has been good. This will do for me, not for you guys. You guys deserve better. for me, I'm like, I use, and tell me if you guys do this. When I buy sheets or when I, or when I buy like, the sábanas, which is like the cover of the bed, the big blanket that goes over. I can't remember the name right now, but when I buy, the sheets and stuff like at Bed Bath and Beyond or any other stores that sell like bed sheets, I keep the plastic and I put a whole bunch of stuff in the plastic. Do you guys do that, or have you guys done that? Because I know that I have one drawer full of just plastics from like curtains, um, bed sheets, and like all these other different things. And I use them, so it's not like I'm not using them or making use of them. So is that ghetto? You know, I don't even know. Do you guys do that? Do you think that's ghetto? Oh, work in progress number two. I don't know if I showed you guys this in the last episode, but this is going to be a small shawl. The design is from Lori Nicklin. Um, Claris is the name of the shawl. I don't have much to show you. Again, I haven't been able to work on any, really any of my projects, or even start ones that I have in my head. And trust me, I want to try and finish my work in progresses before I start one. But I'm getting that itch. I need more yarn. Um, but so I'm making this in hopes of giving it to a colleague of mine who's a lawyer and does a lot of amazing work and a lot of pro bono work, um, and has helped so many people, and really doesn't ask for anything in return. She's very humble, very sweet, knows her stuff, um, gets the community, and is not afraid to pull up, roll up her sleeves and get down to work to make sure that everything is going right, and whatever's wrong, how do we fix it, and making sure that she understands so that she is able to help fix things. And so because she is constantly working, constantly on the go, works through even hard times in her life. And sometimes I know that that's a mechanism for a lot of people, but for me, it's admirable, and a little tough because sometimes I'm like, you need a break. You need to rest. You need to, recharge that battery. I know a lot of people like that, and it's sad because that's really what the world is now. It's always work, 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 work. She's doing an amazing job. Don't get me wrong, but so I wanted to thank her for all the stuff that she does, by making her a shawl. Now I don't really know what colors she likes, so I decided to go with a neutral um, kind of color. I don't know if you, actually this is really the color. Let me see. Yep, that is the color. It's Madeline Tosh. I don't remember what the name of the color is because I lost the ball band. Um, but I hope to finish this soon so I can show you because it's very, very beautiful. And I love Laura Nichols, excuse me, Nicklin. Oh, I botch her name all the time. But I know that I said this in past episodes. I love her patterns because they are really straightforward. She gives you the written work and then she gives you the charts to follow. And this is really like a beginner shawl, so there's not a lot of different types of designs going on. She really stuck to one type of design that is fairly simple. I always have an issue. I just started doing shawls, so I'm like on this shawl, kick, and on the sock kick because I just started doing socks too. But my issue with doing shawls is that for whatever reason, on one side of, because it's a triangle, it's top down, right? This is top down. So on one side of the triangle, I'm short, and then the other side of the triangle, I have the right amount of stitches. And so I don't know how the heck that happens. I know that I'm following the pattern, well, I hope that I'm following the pattern. Obviously, I'm not if I'm one stitch short. So I have to pull this back because I have no idea where I went wrong. So I have to pull this back and restart it. And I'm not really looking forward to that. I'm like, I'm about to put this on the bottom of the pile. If it wasn't for somebody, I definitely would have done that. But what do you do? What do you think? Should I just continue and just increase extra stitch? Because I don't think I can't even tell. So I know that no one else is going to be able to tell. Probably the designer herself, but other than that, I don't think anybody else would tell. Um, yeah, so I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to pull it out or just continue and just increase in the, a spot where you won't, where it really wouldn't be recognized. And, I'm still in the beginning of it, so it's not going to, I feel, it's not going to really affect the design at all. Um, but yeah, so that's number two. And by the way, I have to say that I love Madeline Tosh um, yarns. Uh, this is the finger weight yarn, and I just love it. So soft, and I have another one. It's tart. It's the color tart. That's the name of the color. It's tart. I'm backwards. I'm getting it together, people. Bear with me. But I just love it, and I'm not full disclosure. They're not paying me. I don't even know, how I can get free yarn. If I knew how to get free yarn, I would be, you know, first person in line, as well as many of you would be. But I just love the way that they feel. Do you have any other yarns that you may feel that way about, that you constantly just want to knit with? If so, share with me, because if I haven't used that type of yarn, I would love to purchase at least like one or two skeins to do a small project to see if I like, if I may get another favorite yarn. So that's number two. See, I told you, and I still have the thing in here. Oh my God, is that ghetto? I'm ghetto. No. Oh man, and it says in here. Wait, see, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. I just took the damn bed skirt out. First of all, I don't even put bed skirts on my bed, so that means that somebody must have bought me the sheets, the set for it. But because I don't even use bed skirts. But look, I didn't even take them out. Um, I definitely need project back. Oh wow. Um, this is my second try at toe up socks. This is another issue that I'm having, and I don't know where I went wrong because this is basic. Like I'm not venturing off into doing patterns yet for socks. 'Cause I like to take my time when I learn new um, garments. I like to take my time, so I like to do a couple of them just basic. So this is straight like mm, stock net, you know. And for whatever reason, and I know it's every other row, you increase until you get to the length that you need for the toe, and this is for hubby. Um, I didn't bring the ball band with me to the living room, so I can't really tell you what type of yarn this is. This is sock yarn. Um, I'm trying to remember the name. I know that probably in the last episode I had mentioned it, but the name escapes me. And but anyway, so my issue is that on one needle I have the correct amount of stitches, and on the second needle I missed an increase somewhere, and I can't effing tell. So now I have to pull back. Well, actually I can tell if I really like pay attention, but regardless, I have to pull back now and fix it. And I just want to go. I just want to keep going, keep going, keep going. But I don't want to be careless. I don't want to be lazy. I'm taking the time to do this. I might as well do it right. So I just like I'm like, ooh, another thing I have to pull back. What is wrong with me? Get it together. I'm like, but yeah, so that's number three. And I had to pull this back before because the same thing happened. So this is my second time pulling back. However, the first time that I pulled back, I was already starting to work on the heel. So I had to pull back a lot. And I'm surprised that my yarn hadn't, because I didn't wind it back up. Because when I pulled it, when I when I pulled back, I just completely eradicated the damn stock to start new. Um, I had cast it on again, so I didn't wind up the yarn, the unused yarn back into the ball, back into the cage. So I'm actually surprised, and I probably just jinxed myself right now, but that I have no knots. Now I'm gonna show you something. Introducing my first time ever baby sweater. You're not gonna be able to really see the colors, but it's beautiful. Um, the yarn is I was gonna say Madeline Tosh. See, look at that. Malabrigo, and the color is I want to say English Rose, 057, if I'm not mistaken. First time ever, 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 ever. I did the swatch. I did two. All I needed to do was two, which surprised the heck out of me. I had bought an extra skein just in case I need to do more swatches. But all I had to do was two, so I have an extra skein, and I'm trying to figure out maybe I'll make like a hat for it. But this is amazing. I enjoyed it. It was a real good beginning garment for me. And the pattern I had gotten, and I had shared this on the last episode, and I didn't bring it with me because I completely forgot. But the pattern that I got was from my local yarn store when I went there to do a class on a shawl. Um, they showed me this was on display in a different color. It was like a green, like different types of green, but it was still Malabrigo. And so anyway, so it was on display. I loved it. I asked the instructor, we were talking, we had a conversation about garments, because one of the other ladies had just finished making this. So I had asked her, was it hard? Was it difficult? Because I'm a little bit like, ooh, stick to what you know, stick to what you know. But I want to be fearless. I just want to do it. I want to be spontaneous with my work, and just do something I haven't done before. And so here is that product. Do something I haven't done before. I made this for my great niece. I have yet to try it on her, so I don't even know if this will freaking fit her. But I am proud because I only made one mistake, and you can't even tell because I hit it with the button. I missed the buttonhole, so I kind of like forced it in between stitches. I don't know if that's right. I don't know if it's wrong, but it's doable. And when I found out, I was so upset because I had already found off. It was, oh, forget it. But I made it work, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I can't wait for her to try it on. It's been 80s in New York, so I'm not gonna have a baby, a 7-month-old baby, try this on. Um, in this heat, in this weather, because it's been very, very humid. Um, Today we lucked out with some rain. Not some rain. We got a piece of a hurricane, right? The rain was just like coming down towards the ending of the night, the beginning of the night. But yeah, so I can't wait to have her try this on to see. I was really nervous um, when I had to pick up to do the sleeves again. I was very, very nervous because I was like, what the hell am I doing? It looked like I was doing it wrong. And so, but I wanted to be fearless, and I wanted to just do it because that was the last piece that I needed to do. And I actually modified I don't know if I would call it a modification, but they give you different choices on what to do with the cuff of the sleeve. And so I actually did a reverse stock neck, and it made it kind of wide. And so by doing that, the reverse stock neck, I'm able to flip it where it's a 3/4 sweater. So, and I don't know if I'm, because this is rolling. I haven't blocked this. I have to block this. But and so I don't know if by blocking it, it's going to kind of flatten it out. I doubt it. But if not, then I'm probably gonna, sew it so it stays like that instead of having the option to flip it. But yeah, so that's my finished project. I got it done. I got it done. I'm proud of myself. So that's that. My peoples, my yarn addict, Mr. Blue, Mr. Blue, Mr. Blue is here. Look, I don't know if you remember my last episode where um, the yarn that was on this piece here really looked like thick dreadlocks. But from reading, just from reading, respect the spindle. I was able to, and I'm still working on my consistency. That's going to take some time, um, and I haven't really had time to work with Mr. Blue. So, but it thinned out. I was able to thin it out some. There are some spots here that, and I don't know if you can tell, but there are some spots here that are kind of like they don't look like they were spun, tight enough. So I really have to work on that. But I'm very proud at just from reading Respect the Spindle, how I was able to go from very thick twist to mediocre. um, so I'm excited, and Mr. Blue's excited. So yeah, I'm just any suggestions? Any more suggestions? I know that Vonna 85 had mentioned to me about getting I think it's like a DVD on spindling, and it's from Interweave. I looked into it, but I didn't purchase it because I had to pay my bills and I had to have cost of train fare, and food and stuff like that. And I think the DVD is like 20 25. I mean, it's not much, but at the same time, that $25 went to my MetroCard that I need to travel to go to and from work. So I wasn't able to purchase that, but I am going to. But yeah, so that's my spindle. The adventures that I'm having with this, what I find is that, and I think that I'm sorry, I'm on a leather recliner, and so I'm getting stuck because I have shorts on. Um, One of the things that I feel like I need more clarity on, and the book speaks to this, but I think I need like a hands-on experience with this. Is how do you know when the twists are just right? So all you spinners out there, drop me a comment to tell me what worked for you or what works for you now. Give me an example, okay? Because I really would like to know, because I find that um, having too much twist kinks it up, which the book did speak about. But then when I feel like I put enough twist, it actually looks like, I don't know if you can see this, hold on. It actually looks like this piece right here. Oops, oops, okay. No, forget it, I can't show you. But it kind of looks like I didn't really put enough spin in it. So how do you know, wait, let me see. You see that bar? You see that this part right here, how thick it is, that looks like a dreadlock, right? Like for me, it looks like a dreadlock. And that's when I thought I put enough spin in it, and I didn't. So that is one of my like burning questions. When you started spinning, how did you come to know how much was the right amount of spin, right? In order to get the perfect twist or, the great twist. Because I know that consistency comes with time, but I can't have consistency if I don't know, or if I can't really tell at this point in my journey with Mr. Blue, how many, how to determine whether or not there's enough twist in order to continue to draft. So that's number one. And number two is I do the pre-drafting. I get the pre-drafting. Pre-drafting is when you get when you get the fiber, when you first purchase it. Some people have the fiber in grade, and other people just put it in a plastic, send it to you, and then you have to do what you will with it. And so when you get the fiber, you kind of like air it out. So you stretch it so that it airs out, right? And that's the pre-drafting. So what I found was when I pre-drafted, and I noticed this on YouTube videos, people still pull apart. But when I pull, and this is the long staple length, so the staple length for the individual fibers is about, and look, this is coming off, but the staple length for the individual fibers is probably about, it's a long staple length, so it's probably about like right here, right? So if I'm drafting, and for me, I'm at that point where I pinch. So if I made a twist, I pinch and then I move forward and then I let go and then let the twist turn. Did you guys start that way? Did you find that that was helpful? That's that's two questions. But so what I found was that I need to continue to draft to make it thinner because I want to do smaller twists. Have thinner yarn, but I I don't know. I don't know because when I pull, usually what happens when I pull the draft, the bottom part, so if I'm pulling right here, then just this moves, nothing up here. So what do you do? What do you do? So that's that. And because I'm a yarn addict, I have to question. I want to make my own yarn. So what I did, I am not ashamed. This is tears of joy. I purchased Cordell 8-ounce natural fiber um, woven. And why I did this, I'll tell you why. When I was reading Respect the Spindle, she has suggested some types of fiber to start off with as a beginner. And to have more fiber, of course, more fiber than less when you're beginning so that you can continue on with your learning and start to get the flow. So I purchased Cordell because this was one of the fibers that she has suggested. And I got this from the Etsy shop, Sheepish Creations. Um, and Pam was very, very fast to email me when I had a question. Very, very nice. And I got this. I bought actually another thing from them. Um, I got this in a matter of 2 days, so I was excited about that. So I can't wait to start with this. And I also got this. This is Romney, 4-ounce from the same Sheepish Creations Etsy shop. And so again, this was I purchased this because this was also another fiber that respected the spindle suggested to start off with. And so this was the braid that I was talking about for you non-spinners, and me, very, 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 very new spinner. Um, that this is the braid, and you want, you take, obviously you take out the braid and you pre-draft and start spinning. So I got that, and there's no color like this. Do I name this when I make the yarn? Because there's no name for this colorway. So do I make a name for this colorway? If so, what do you think? What do you think? What kind of name? So, funny thing, I tried to purchase this in secret. Uh, these two fibers in secret. I was debating on whether or not I was going to tell my husband. I'm not going to continue to say my husband. My husband's name is Brian. So when I speak about Brian, I talk about my husband. I was debating on whether or not I was going to tell Brian that I had purchased the two fibers. They weren't expensive, so that's a plus. But I didn't want to do it because, you know, I have enough already. I have enough yarn and stuff. Um, so when I was walking home after I had purchased it, I'm thinking to myself, I should just tell him. Because when it comes, what I'm going to say, the fiber gods dropped it off. It's coming from the post. It's coming from the UPS. The fiber gods ain't dropping nothing off. Um, but so when I got home, I don't know how I started, but I told her, I said, oh, you know what? I made, from reading the book, and I explained myself, and I purchased two different types of fiber. He goes, I know. I got an email. What? You got an email about my purchase? How dare they? The internet gods told on me. They told on me. I was gonna tell him. You had to let me tell him. I was gonna be truthful. You didn't have to tell him first. Snitches. It was okay. He wasn't upset. He thought it was actually funny that I tried to hide it. But yeah. So that was funny. For me, that was funny. Um, I think that's all that I have to talk about now. I hope that next week when I do another podcast, I have a lot more to show you. I actually am thinking about starting a cardigan. Um, I have a whole bunch of magazines that I'm gonna really flip through this week to see what I want to see which one I want to do, and then I'm gonna go out and purchase the yard because I know I'm not gonna have it. Um, um, so that I can now start to try and do cardigans because I don't want the podcast to be boring if I'm showing you socks and then I'm showing you more shawls and then I'm showing you more blankets and then socks and then shawls. No, I want to switch it up and I also want to learn, right? So I want to learn and get more experience, and the only way that I do that is I get out of my comfort zone and challenge myself to doing garments. And so I was actually very happy that I challenged myself. And the reason why I did that was because of one of the Artsy Knitters episodes when she talks about, you know, it's just yarn. As well as Dark Matter Knits, she talks about being fearless and that it's just yarn. If there's a mistake, you can always just pull it back. It's not like it's permanent, not like, a tattoo or something like that, um, which is permanent and needs a lot more consideration. Not to say that you don't think about what projects you're going to do, obviously, but if there is ever a mistake or something's not going right, you can always pull it back. So where's the fear? What's holding you back? So when I was listening to the Dark Matter Knits and when she was talking about that, as well as the Artsy Knitter, I was like, you're damn right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump right in. Um, So I kind of jumped right in because I did a baby cardigan or sweater. right? It's called the Small Things Sweater. So I kind of jumped right in, like maybe to my knees. So within the next couple of episodes, I'm probably going to have started a cardigan for myself. Um, so yeah, so that's it. If you have any suggestions, any ideas, any comments, you know, excuse me, oh, hiccups, um, leave them on the bottom. I want to be able to build and learn from your comments and your suggestions. So please leave them. Also, I do have a PandaVille podcast page on Ravelry. So I'm trying to get to right now 20 members. And what I want to do is I have linen yarn from Plymouth, I believe is the name. And I left it inside, so I'm sorry I don't have it to show you. But I realized that I just I don't like it. I don't like the linen yarn. And I have bought 8 skeins. I used one and then I pulled back from the one that I used. There's one that's rolled up, so it doesn't have um, the paper on it. So I say that I have 6 um, skeins of the linen, and I think that there is about 109 yards. Don't kill me. I will double check that, but if I'm not mistaken, it's about 109 yards per skein. And so if I reach, once I reach 20, I will do a drawing to see um, who gets the 6 skeins of the Plymouth linen yarn that I have purchased. Um, so once you join or once you become a member, introduce yourself. That's the only way you're going to be able to be put into the drawing. So introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Give me a comment. Give me a suggestions how to make things better. Um, because I know that there's a lot of podcasts out there and they are amazing. They're all amazing. All of the ones that I've seen. I have a couple that I'm catching up on. The Stocknet Zombies, um, the Knit Girls. There's one, the Bakery Bears. Uh, it's I have a lot, but and the Fat Squirrel Speaks. I have a lot, but and so I know that for as many as I watch, there's like a dozen more, and so I want to try to be different, and I'm trying to work on how I'm gonna do that, how I'm gonna be different, but at the same time, a lot of the other podcasts have a lot of great qualities that are similar. The bottom line is similar. The way that it's delivered is different, but the bottom line is similar. So I want to kind of like stick to that. And one of the things is um, the introduction. And not only because other podcasts are doing it, I really want to know. I really want to learn. I really want to hear from you guys. So definitely, check out the Panda Loves Yarn page on Ravelry and introduce yourself, and let's get something going. So until then, I will see you guys next week. Live life and love it to the fullest. Panda out.